Okay, this is a tune entitled Toccata, and Andrew just shreds on this tune, so I really want to feature him on this song.
All right, aloha and welcome. And today we have a big treat for everybody. The one and only Jake Shimabukuro. Welcome, my friend.
Andrew, great to see you, man. Thanks for having me on.
Oh no, thank you for donating, your time. You're like probably the busiest guy I know, so thanks for making time out of your busy schedule.
Oh no, man, thank you. It's great to see you. Great to be on, and yeah, I just it's always nice to connect with friends. It's been a crazy time. So
For sure. I was really hoping to come visit and we could hang and jam, but next year should be better. But yeah, how's life been good?
yeah, things have been good. I mean, as good as it can be. Just with everything going on, I think every family has their own unique set of challenges, and just learning to adapt and figure out how to yeah, how to do that. But I also think it's a good time to stop and reflect, and just figure out how we can be more helpful, right? Not just to our families and
Right.
friends, but to our neighbors and community. So I think I think it's in that sense, I think it's kind of brought people together.
For
Um,
sure.
I know in my circle it has, and has also given us a greater appreciation,
Definitely.
for those little moments that we take for granted. So
Definitely. Like I really like, especially you. I mean, just being able to travel is just a giant adjustment to now. And I think out of all the artists, it probably hit you the most. So it must have been I mean, you must be feeling like, oh, I kind of want to get off the island, right?
well, it's funny because I mean, you only know what you know, and you only your perspective is based off of all your experiences. And for the
Right.
last 20 years maybe now, I mean, I've been traveling, right?
Yeah.
And so being forced to be home like this was actually um, a pretty incredible experience, in a sense where I mean, just trying to be positive and looking at the silver lining of everything,
Right.
because of course there were a lot of challenges. I don't want to be like, oh, everything's fine, but what I loved most about all of this is especially with my kids, the bond that I was able to experience and develop, because they know I'm not just home for a few days or
Yeah.
2 weeks and then I'm taking off again. And I've always felt we had a really good connection and relationship. But yeah, I mean, in this, just being home like this now has been an eye opener for me, because I'm like, wow, I didn't know it could be, like this. So, and I probably never would have um, experienced that if I had kept traveling. I would have just thought like, oh, this is how it is, and
Right.
don't
And
know
this,
until you go through it.
yeah, and this thing offered just it forced everyone into a unique situation, but it just affected people in different ways. So it's so cool that you get to spend time more with the boys and your wife and stuff like that. So they must be pretty happy about that because
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you're gone like 3/4 of the year sometimes, yeah.
I used to, but when my yeah, when my kids were born, I cut back, and so, but
Mm,
I'm still gone a little over half the year.
right, right.
Yeah, but I remember when I first yeah, when I first met my wife and got married and all that, man, I was always gone, like you said, like, at least 3/4 of the year. I mean, Japan alone, I used to spend just half the
Wow.
year just in Japan. So, well, maybe not half the year, but before, but yeah, but a long time there. And then so once I started, yeah, touring, outside of Japan, then that's when things got really busy.
Oh, so lots of time at home. Do we have any future ukulele players?
Yeah, my kids love music and they play. We play together all the time. We do a lot of indoor basketball,
Ah, nice.
learning to be a better cook. And
Yeah, I saw some of your I forget, were you making like a turkey or something?
what am I making? I don't
I
can't
remember
remember.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been trying to do different things. I have a smoker in the back, and so I've been trying to do some stuff with that. But yeah, it's not easy, man. That's a real art form. Nate Mata is really good at that.
Mm.
You gotta Yeah, you gotta try his smoked meat, man. It's so good.
Yeah, we have all our strengths and weaknesses. Yeah, for me, cooking is not one of the strong suits for sure. It's just a different art.
You know what I
Uh,
have been doing a lot of though is a lot of fishing. Diving and
oh
fishing.
yeah.
Yeah, with my kids. So they're really getting into it, especially my oldest one.
Oh yeah, nice.
But he's got the taco eye now. He can,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Was that spear?
Just three prong, and we go out. Yeah, he finds the holes all by himself now, and you know, yeah. I still got to help him a little bit, grabbing it when it comes out. But yeah, he's got it, man.
Oh man, that's awesome. And that's just yeah, you gotta just cherish those moments you have because once we start getting back to normal, we're gonna be back on the normal schedule. So it just appreciate all the time you have to spend with them.
Yeah, it just gives you a different perspective, and
Definitely.
where there's just so many things that I realize, I just took for granted. So
Yeah,
yeah, I just have a
definitely.
greater appreciation, for so many things now.
Awesome, man. And I think I recently saw that I think it was as of Halloween, you've kind of become a comedian. And it's funny, but because
Wannabe,
what was that?
wannabe comedian. No, I yeah, I mean, growing up, I think I shared this with you. I loved going to all of Frank DeLima's shows,
Oh,
and
right.
guys like Mel Kabang and Rap Replinger, Andy Bumatai. Like as a kid, just watching those guys, and they were so brilliant, and I just always felt that, it was just such a great way to connect with people.
Yeah. No, yeah, unity through laughter is definitely something. And it's my mom, I remember she told me the first time we saw you, she was like, "Oh, he's really funny too." And I mean, we always thought you were funny, but I think you just took it to a whole nother level as of recently.
Oh.
We really, really had a kick out of the your little monologue.
You were great, man. Thanks for contributing that bit.
Oh man, that was an honor, man. Thanks for having me. That was lots of fun, and it was a well produced event.
Oh, thanks, man. We shot the concert footage was all shot at Studio 1122, which is on Oahu. It's at the
Oh, okay.
Olelo Suits. It's amazing. Yeah, you should go if you get a chance. Go do a whether it's just a live concert DVD or something,
Yeah, I was wondering where that was. I was like, that would actually be a great
uh,
idea.
I mean, they have all the lights, they have the audio production is awesome, and and everything that we did that day because we didn't have a rehearsal date, so
Oh
all
yeah.
the lighting and everything was just a one time on the fly.
Oh
Even the
wow.
camera stuff. I mean, they're so good, so intuitive, and they got a really great team there.
Wow, nice. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. And
Yeah.
dang man, so yeah, kind of going back to because we know that you started ukulele around 4 years old, and you practiced as a kid growing up. But the part that really fascinates me is when I guess the transition from post pure heart, like was it, or even when experimenting with the style that you kind of pioneered, like was that a vision that you had?
Oh no, not at all. I mean, um yeah, it's funny, I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, when I had so much fun, of course, playing with John and Lopaka, like, those were some of my fondest memories playing music, right? Because we were just kids and, we just loved playing and we had no idea that we were gonna one day make a CD or one day be performing all over, town and be on the radio or be on TV. Like we never dreamed that any of that would happen. I mean, we were just happy playing at graduation parties and birthday parties, and we used to do all those project grad,
Yeah, yeah.
for the schools. And but yeah, so after that happened, then Lopaka and I are percussionists, and I started another band called
Mm,
Cologne, and that it was in honor of Lopaka's dad. His name was Augie Cologne, who
mm.
was the percussionist for Martin Denny band, and we wanted to pay tribute to him. Um, so that's why we started that band, and with Guy Cruz and Andrew McLellan. And yeah, and I love that band too. It was very different from what we were doing with Pure Heart, in the earlier days. But I learned a lot. Guy introduced me to like a whole different genre of music, right? With that kind of folk rock and kind of heavy, more heavy, grungier type of music.
Right.
So for me, I was put in a situation where I had to make the ukulele work in that situation, right? So that's when a lot of the pedals and the experimentation of the amps and all that came into play. Because I was experimenting with that stuff before, but none of that worked with what we were doing.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember one time I brought my distortion rig out on a show I did with John and Lopaka, and I remember John after the show, he was like, dude, yeah, I don't think you should use that. I was like, oh, okay, no, I was just trying something.
Oh wow.
But he was completely right because it just in the context of what that was, it just absolutely did not make any sense. But then with Cologne, that was a different outlet. I mean,
Yeah.
it gave me an outlet to be very experimental and to be honest, some of the songs we played, they were so jam based that the weirder the sounds were, it worked even better.
Oh,
And
interesting.
it allowed Guy to be very creative, vocally, because he would do things like we would play like these 20-minute songs where he would just be like, start a groove, just play something, and Lopaka, Andrew, and I would just like start play, like we would just okay, let's do something in A minor or D minor or something, and we just start playing, and then he would just start improvising lyrically,
Oh wow.
and this is live on stage, and I mean he was so great, but he really forced us to be creative on the spot, and we had to, I mean he would just put us on the spot, just be like, just turn around and be like, you know play a groove, and we were just like okay, and we were just like what we would do, but after doing that, on stage night after night, we kind of got used to it a little bit and didn't freak out as much. And we're like, okay, well, let's try to build something for him, and that was amazing training for me.
Oh
That
yeah. It's like
sure, and
so
just
like we're gonna
yeah.
throw you in the deep end, just survive.
Yeah, but then also to just watch him create something from nothing was just inspiring.
That's yeah, it's not easy to do.
Yeah, yeah, I miss that guy. He was an
Wow.
amazing artist. You know, that whole family, John, Ernie, I mean, all those guys are just, you know.
Yeah. So shortly after that, that's when you came up with Sunday morning.
Well, after I disbanded with Cologne, I thought that was the end of my performing career. You know, so because you know I was just comfortable as a sideman.
Mm.
I loved being a sideman. I loved backing up singers, and you know, like when John would sing or Lopaka I mean not Lopaka, but um, Guy would sing. I loved being that sideman, and then you know, but every once in a while, like I would have that moment where I could step out and do a solo or you know express something or try something, right? And um, so when we disbanded, I kind of just told myself like, yeah, I don't think I want to start up another band or be part of another band. So that's when that was in 2000, I think. No, 1999. Yeah, that was in 99.
Okay.
And then at the end of 99, I started up an ukulele school. Because at the time I was teaching out of my apartment, you know, like on the
Okay.
side. And so I was like, oh, I'm just going to open up a school because I thought that was the end of my performance, you know, my performing, right? Performance, well, career or whatever, I don't know what you call it. So I started teaching, opened up a school. It was called Ukulele Academy. It was right in Hawaii Kai. You know where Costco is in Hawaii Kai?
Mm.
So on the left of Hawaii Kai, there used to be a brown medical building there. So my school was in that building, but it's no
Oh,
longer there now. Now it's all just a parking lot. But yeah, but that's where I met like Nate Mata and you know Jody Kamisato and all
Craig,
those
right? Craig Chi.
Craig Chi. Yeah, well, Craig used to take from me when I was teaching out of my apartment.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
yeah, that was yeah. But yeah, so you know, and that's you know, my brother, my brother Bruce too. You know, he was running his own classes there, and um, yeah. So you know, that's basically how that all started,
And what motivated you to? Because it seemed like
and
you thought
okay,
your
and then yeah. So I was doing the whole teaching thing, and then I had a couple. Well, I just felt like I wanted to, you know, just because I missed playing and like I used to play in coffee shops and stuff. This was even before Pure Heart. You know, I used to play in little coffee shops and just do little solo things, and you know, it was terrible. But you know, I was terrible. You know, I would just sit in the corner and just play quietly. I wouldn't even make eye contact with anybody. But what was I going to say? But then yeah, so I wanted to start playing somewhere, but the restaurants and clubs that I would inquire if I could come in and play, they all wanted a singer to be with me, or they wanted you know like a trio or something, and so I said, oh, that's that you know, you know, so I was like, no, that's okay then, but because I didn't want to, I just wanted just a casual place, you know, where I could just come in and just strum and play, but
okay.
so the first place that gave me the opportunity was Willow's restaurant. You know, Kyle and Garrett at the Willows at the time. They said, "Hey Jake, yeah, just come in. You know, just do whatever you want. You know, yeah, we can whatever night you want, come in. You want 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever you want. You know, we'll just give the night to you." And I was like, "Really?" And they're like, "Yeah." So I said, "Oh man, that's so cool." So I'd bring in a little amp and just sit and play, and it kind of started to grow from that. I started working on more solo ukulele arrangements
Mm.
and trying to come up with different ways of filling up that time, you know, in an interesting way. So, and then from that, I started getting a lot more solo opportunities, right? So after Willows, then I started also playing at Chai's Island Bistro.
Okay.
Well, so Chai also said, "Oh yeah, come in and play." And so that's where I really kind of started to gain a little bit more confidence as a soloist.
Yeah, because the fact that you said you were shy, that's really hard to believe.
Oh man, are you kidding me? Yeah, I was totally. I hated going up on stage by myself. It was so nice to because when we were with Pure Heart, John was a spokesperson. I mean, he always talked. I mean, sometimes I would chime in with something, but I would always be in the back with Lopaka.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's quite a shift.
yeah. But it was great at the time. Kazusa Flanagan, who was our assistant manager when I was playing with Cologne. She and Tracy Torado was our producer and manager. He hired Kazusa Flanagan to kind of help, with just kind of assist him with stuff. And so when I started getting a lot more opportunities as a soloist, I asked Kazusa if she would consider just managing me.
Okay. So that's kind of the how that.
That's how it all, yeah, and then it kind of all started from there.
And
So
then you
yeah,
just started, and then you just kind of continued with the first was it the first three or four albums?
yeah. So after that, I started touring. I started, yeah, spending a lot more time in Japan. But I think what was I think what Kazusa did was she took me to Japan to perform a showcase. And so I went up there to play. It was a place called Canal Cafe, and she invited a lot of the record label executives in Japan to come and watch me.
Oh, was that from the that DVD?
No, no, this was all before.
Okay.
Yeah. So and then so I went up there, and it was basically like an audition. So she called all the different record labels, and they came out to watch me. And and I remember Sony Music, the VP and the vice president and the and what was he at the time? He was like one of their top A&R executives, Kazi Ito. So Mitsugi-san and Kazi came, and I remember I was so excited because Sony Music and
Yeah.
just yeah, I just so they came out to the show, and they enjoyed it, and I played a second night, and they actually came back and
Wow.
watched me again, and then they offered me a 7 album contract.
Nice. Which album was that?
So the first album from that was Sunday Morning.
Oh wow. Oh yeah. That was like I think that was like what 2002-ish, maybe.
Yeah, 2001, 2002, I think. Yeah. So I signed with Sony Music in 2001.
Wow. Okay. That's
And then the crazy thing was, they wanted me to Kazi, who was my A&R for 10 years. He would always encourage me to write songs, write my own, pieces. And at the time, I just didn't have the confidence, to write music. I mean, I had written some songs and all that, but I never really had the confidence to do that.
right.
So he pushed me and really taught me a lot, made me listen to a lot of different kinds of music. And so yeah, I was, again, just very lucky, to be surrounded by people who would who would push me musically, teach me, and I just had so many great experiences, from that. A lot
I
of
do
trips.
I bet. And I do have to ask you about you had in your first era of writing songs, you had a series of Toastman songs.
Oh yeah.
That's the songs that I think I grew up with, and I think
Mm,
you had four different songs. The
hmm.
original, Toastmaker's Revenge, Toastman's Wave, Toastman's Dilemma. Like where did that come from? We're always curious about that.
Yeah, so years ago I wrote a children's book. And so when I first got got that record deal with Sony Music, I I was like, oh man, I had to start thinking about my first solo project. Like, what am I gonna record? And I was so nervous. I didn't even know where to start. So one night I just had this idea for a children's story, a children's book, and it was called The Toastman and the Princess.
Interesting.
And I started trying to come up with musical ideas to go with the story. So a good friend of mine back then, Kelly Sueta, who's an incredible artist, I asked him to just do some mock-up illustrations and so he drew out the Toastman and the princess. There was like a cherry blossom scene. It's this whole story. It's actually really
Wow.
one of these days I wanna release it as a children's book.
Please do.
But anyways, anyway, yeah. So when I presented my first album idea to Sony, right, to Mitsugi-san and Kazi, I said, "Oh, okay, this is what I'm thinking, right?" And I had a sketch of the book with Kelly Sueta's illustrations, the storyline, and then I had a six-album demo with all these different songs on there that I want in, and to show them like, okay, this music goes with this scene and this. So that's where like Toastmaker's Revenge came from, and that was kind of like the fighting scene between the Toastman
Wow.
and there was a witch, right? So that was, um, but anyway, so a lot of that music went with the story, but since they didn't like that project, they were like, oh, maybe it's too soon to do something like that. They just want a simple album. So I said, oh, okay, all right, that's fine. So since we did that, then yeah, the song Toastmaker's Revenge, I just took it from that and put it on the first record, and I just kept calling it Toastmaker's Revenge um, because that was the scene where he gets revenge, and he goes and fights the witch, and because the witch, put I gotta tell the whole story to you one day, but
Thank you so much. That's a question I've been wanting to know for almost half my life.
but because of that, since I had that on the first record, I thought, oh, it might be cool to just keep a series of like Toastman or Toastmaker,
Right. It's so unique.
yeah. So that was the story behind it.
Interesting. I think Toastman Land was the last one.
Yeah.
I can still do Toastman's Wave, I think, but I do have a request.
Uh-huh.
How about Toastman's Return?
Toastman's Return, yeah.
That would be. I think a lot of the like the old school players are like, "Oh my gosh, he's back."
But it was and then and I if you ever heard the original recording, there's a little um recording of my
I
voice that
was gonna ask you, just gonna ask you about that.
so that's what so I had this big idea that when I would promote the Toastman story, I would go out and play the songs, and I would keep a toaster on stage. I'd be making toast, and in the battle scene between the Toastman and the witch, he has his his bags of toast, and he's like flying it out at the witch like ninja stars,
Oh my
Yeah, it's,
gosh!
it's like this whole
Like, did
thing.
she steal the toast? Is that why he's getting revenge?
No, the princess that he was in love with, yeah, she sent the princess to a star out in space. So at the end, the toast, yeah, the toast man, right? He gets his revenge, and beats the witch, and then he builds this giant toaster, and the toast he builds this huge. One day I'll share it. I'll share the whole thing.
I would love to
I
share
think
it.
it's one of these days I'm because I got the whole thing in my head, and one of these days I'm gonna
You have to release it with the new song.
okay.
Oh man, well thank you so much. Like that was just special because Toast Man, that's like a part of my childhood, honestly. With and those songs.
Oh,
So
thanks,
so it's
man.
just cool to wrap it up, man. And oh man, that's so awesome, man. And just like since at the time you were really the only one doing it. And I remember we had a conversation last year, and you said that it wasn't certain people didn't want to accept the way it was being played, the ukulele.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I had I think but I think back then when I was doing it, now that I'm older and I reflect and look back, it was kind of like what I said earlier about trying to use some of those sounds, with certain songs when I would play it as in the band Pure Heart. It was just out of context and it wasn't in good taste.
Mm,
It was just trying to use it to use it, right? But not
right.
not be musical with it. So I think so yeah, so now when I reflect and go back, I realize that no, I mean that was if I went back in time and saw myself playing back then, I'd be like, dude, what are you doing? Put just yeah, play it's completely out of context. So I think I think all of these different sounds and more modern sounds, I think they're all cool and they're all very musical if you find the right place, right?
Right. No, I
So
agree with you.
that's the key is being tasteful about how you use it. Making those those kinds of decisions and those musical decisions. I think are very important, right? Too, yeah. Because
Wow.
so yeah, it's just so I when I think about it back then, yeah, they were totally right. I wasn't serving the music or I wasn't serving the moment in the right way.
Mm,
I was just trying to be I was just trying to be different for the sake of being different, right? Which is
right, right.
not always,
But
which
at
is
least you didn't give up. You continue to evolve and then you just kind of develop this style and like, starting off from a coffee shop where you can barely like or you said you're shy and then that I mean that DVD, the Play Loud ukulele DVD, I mean that's definitely not shy. Like and I think that's one of the things that drew me to you is just like the energy that you put out and you don't see an ukulele player play like that. So is it
yeah.
just like a confidence that you got, or is it because you were rocking out, man, doing backflips, and it was just such a memorable performance. I was like, wow, who is this guy? Like,
Oh, it was it like I look back and I'm like, oh gosh, it's so silly. But you know what? But that's honestly, how I was back then. I was super hyper. I just like, I was always I was just always super hyper. And so I played that way. I mean, everything I played was it was just so extreme. Everything that I did had to be so extreme. And um but I think that was something I had to go through, right? I mean, you just the most important thing to me is as long as you're being true to who you are. So, back then I can accept that. Yeah, that's definitely the kind of person I was always like bouncing around, jumping all over the place. Um, but you're right. But it was I don't know what triggered that because I used to be very shy, but only on stage. Like off stage, I was not shy.
oh,
I was very much an extrovert. Yeah. So I'm sorry. When I say I was shy, it was when I would get up on stage in front of people, um, and I wasn't really shy, but I just didn't really want to talk or
I
do
mean, it's
anything
a,
like
it's a,
that.
it's a, it's a art form in itself, performing.
Yeah, no, but it's yeah, I because off stage, just with friends and all of that. I mean, I was definitely super hyper, always high energy, always running around. So there came a point where I realized that if I can take that energy and just put that on stage, I think that's what it was for me. Just and I think growing up, a lot of the people that I grew up watching, play the ukulele, would like Otasan, who was my ultimate hero. I mean, that guy, I never really saw him stand and play. He always sat in a chair and
Right,
played. It didn't matter how fast and energetic the tune was, or if it was a ballad. I mean, he would just sit the same way and play, that way. So for me, that was, in my image, that was how you perform the ukulele.
right,
So it wasn't until I remember seeing videos of rock concerts, like like Van Halen performing, watching Jimi Hendrix, right, do all these crazy, have all these crazy
right.
hits on stage, or like the Who, Led Zeppelin, watching them, and I was just like, wow, that's so crazy, like complete opposite of what I thought a performance was supposed to look like or be like, right? Um, so I think that's kind of what triggered that in my head, that I was like, no, it's okay to be hyper and crazy on stage, even if you're playing the ukulele,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So,
And you were
yeah.
definitely the first person to do that.
Well, I think a big part of that was because I didn't sing. I wasn't a singer. So I could move around the stage because I didn't have to stand in front of a microphone.
Right, right, right.
song. So I just kind of took advantage of that. I remember, at one of the ukulele festivals, there was, at Roy Sukuma's festival, Pansi Pants performed, and he was, one of his big show-stopping tunes was an arrangement of The Stars and Stripes Forever. And I remember at the end, he had this little flag on his uke that he would turn up, and he would walk to one side of the stage, and he'd be like, da 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 da, and he would start walking to the other side of the stage, and like be doing that, and everyone would just be clapping along like this. I just thought, oh man, that's so cool. It's just like, yeah, you have that whole stage to use. And so I remember in my head just thinking like, wow, it just made the show seem so much bigger rather than just watching him like this. It's like, if I could, he would go to that side, then I would have to turn, and then he would go to that way, and then I would turn to this side. So it just made the performance visual so much larger than just being dead center. So I remember like making a mental note of that, and I remember thinking like, okay, yeah, well, and that's why I went to the wireless system for a long time,
Right, yeah,
because I
yeah.
wanted to. And I started doing stuff like that, like, running out into the audience and playing, or, doing those things. But yeah, and then, so I did that for quite a long time. I invested in really good wireless systems, but then once I started really getting into tone and the importance of my tone, once I experienced getting a tone that I really liked, that I couldn't achieve with the wireless system.
Yeah, yeah.
I
It's
couldn't
definitely
go
different.
I couldn't go back to the wireless, yeah. But up until that point, I mean, those wireless systems sound great.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with them. I mean, they sound amazing, but you know,
Wow.
those I mean, you get the right cables and the right setup, and you get a tone that just really speaks to you, and it's so hard to give that up.
Yeah, no, and just you completely like adapted the performance because man, I think you're one of the best performers out there. You're so engaging in just the effect you have on the audience. I mean, I've seen you so many times,
Oh,
but it's unreal and there's nothing quite like it.
oh, thanks for saying that, man.
No, it's like you create a magic and you throw your jokes in there and you just I don't know, that's it's no, it's amazing.
Uh, well, I love it. Man, I love being on stage. I love performing for people, and there's yeah, there's like a I don't know, after every performance, there's this just this rush, this I don't know, this sense of I don't even know how to explain it, but I
Yeah,
do miss I think it's because it's the passion, you're getting to do something that you're passionate about.
no, I know I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm starting to get a small taste of it as of
And,
recently. I'm starting to travel, but
mhm.
yeah, just like the kind of brush up on the influence. I've been Jake's a really big Jake fan since I was maybe like 13 or 14 years old, and I think we met back in 2006, the very beginning. And prior to learning who you were, I remember my dad asked me, like, we're in the car, right? And then he's like, "Have you heard?" Because I before that I was listening to like Call Creator Boys and
Oh yeah, of
Three
course.
Plus, So my dad's like, "Oh, have you heard of Jake Shimabukuro?" And then I was like, "No." I was like, "Who is that guy?" And then like kind of going back to what you said earlier, like I pictured like a older Japanese guy that sits in a chair, like from Japan, and plays like Hawaiian music. And I was like, "Oh no, yeah, I don't know who that is." And and then he bought me your DVD, the Play Loud
Mhm.
Ukulele, and I was like, "Wow, this is not what I expected." And I was just after that, I was like, "We gotta see him." And I remember I bought all your CDs, and I was so you just seeing that just made me fall in love with the ukulele because I was like, I gotta play like that. It's just so cool. Because before the ukulele was just like the ukulele, but after I heard you play it, I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is like Toastmakers Revenge was actually the first one of the first ones I heard. And I remember
Wow.
there was no YouTube at the time, so I just had to rewind that thing over and over and try to figure out how to play it. And just I remember just the effect it had on me. And I remember the first time I saw you, I was all starstruck. But you were signing autographs, and I never forgot how you made me feel. Because I remember I felt like you knew, like I was a friend or something. You said, "Hey man, what's up?" And I just remembered like I was glowing for like the next month, just because it's like you literally became my childhood hero. And I would like people wearing their basketball jerseys, but I was repping your shirt to school. That's how proud I was to be a fan of yours.
Oh, thanks, Andrew.
And
Thank
yeah, I've actually never told this part to anybody, but growing up, like I was legit shy. I didn't have many friends. I used to get bullied for being more quiet, and and that was kind of my life. Elementary school, and going into intermediate. But I think it was when I saw you perform, you taught me that I didn't have to be afraid, and I just completely changed. All my teachers were like, "Whoa, what happened to you?" Because the
mm,
effect that you had when I saw the DVD and I met you, and I said, "I want to do that when I grow up." So thank you so much for
oh,
what you've
man.
done. You've changed the entire course of my life. So thanks for continuing your music career after the coffee shop. But
Oh, thanks, Andrew. Yeah, it means the world, man. Thank you. Well,
and
you know how I feel about you, man. I've always just admired you, not just for your talent, but just the kind of heart that you have and the kind of person that you are. Your mom and dad are so proud of you. They're just such good people, and I just yeah, I'm so happy for all your success and your
thank you.
accomplishments. You're just so driven, and you keep getting better and better and better. You keep pushing yourself, and it's awesome, man. I mean, every album you put out, just you're always exploring new things, and you
Yeah,
know,
and
I hear the influences, I hear the things you're going for. The different uh, intervals that you're gravitating toward, the different kind of morphing with your different syncopations, time signatures, trying to solo over different types of changes, your note selection. I mean, all those things. It just I hear the maturity and the growth you're
uh,
playing every album. So
thank you. Yeah, just grinding, man, and that's something that I really still admire about you is that you're always evolving. So just for me, that's just so inspirational. And I always tell myself I don't want my last CD to sound like the new one. always
Mhm.
evolve, because that's something that's actually very difficult to do, and it still surprises me to this day. I was actually talking with Chris Fujigami last week about your evolution. It's crazy, like there's no limit, and it's just so inspiring just to see us. We'll always be your number one fan.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Thank you. Yeah, man. Don't ever be afraid to just try. I mean, that's how I mean, obviously, like before when I was with different record labels and stuff, I mean, there's a responsibility because you have to put out something that will be a product that the record label can promote and they can get behind and they'll know how to market. So it's not a loss for them, right?
Yeah,
But it's but which is really great too. It's great to be able to like focus on that and really push yourself to try to write something that you think um, that you think will be accessible and something that from the record label side to your audience can appreciate. But I think it's always important, like they always gave me like a few tracks where I could just be experimental, just do whatever I want, and it would be on the album. So I was very fortunate, that they kind of gave me that freedom and that opportunity to be experimental, as long as I gave them a couple songs that could be a little bit more uh, you know I don't know what the right word is, but but even with those songs, it's so hard to write songs like that are
yeah,
because I mean you like people sometimes will say things about popular tunes and like why it's like why is that song so popular, it's only like two chords or three chords, but try to write a song like that. It's not easy to write a song like that and then make it make it not sound so simplified.
yeah,
If you break it down, yeah, it may be simple, but if you look at the way it's structured and the way every chord and note and every movement, every beat, and how everything is locked into each other like a perfect puzzle.
yeah.
It's absolute brilliance, so yeah, it's not easy, man. I mean, not yeah, yeah.
And there's
Things only. I always believe that nothing truly is easy.
yeah,
Um, it just depends on how much effort you want to put into it, right?
definitely. No, the effort and the hard work is the
Mhm.
majority, I guess. And then I guess what you want to achieve up here. And yeah, you just have like you have so much different arrangements. They're very, very creative, and like things from obviously Gently Weeps to what was that one that we did at the Mac? Was it Time of the Season?
Oh, we did time of the season,
Time of
yeah.
the Season, yeah, just
Yeah.
like just your variety. I mean, it's just always yeah, just always great to listen to.
Oh, thanks,
This
man.
variety and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, as you know, it's always neat, right? When you start arranging a song for the ukulele, and you're kind of like, how is this going to work out, right? But you keep working on it, shifting keys, trying different things, trying different voicings, and then when it all comes together, you're just like, oh man, it's like it's just such a rush, it's and that's what I love. I love just kind of trying to piece together an arrangement of a song, not knowing what the end result's gonna be, but you just keep piecing away, and the next thing you know, you're like, oh, or you get stuck on one little part and then you're like, what's the right voicing for that? Like, oh, this doesn't sound right. And it can be
Yeah.
technically right, it can be technically right, but it just doesn't feel right, or it just doesn't, there's just something about it that no, but then you make one little change and you're like, oh, there it is. That's the sound, right? So I don't know. I love that feeling. I don't know. It's
I mean, we're so limited, yeah, with the four strings. So to 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 arrange a piece that has so many parts is challenging, but yet it's a lot of fun when you can make it
mm,
happen. Like what would be your toughest and most, I guess, the arrangement you're most proud of?
the arrangement I'm most proud
I know
of.
it's not an easy question.
Oh, I don't know. I think I think Sakura Sakura was one that really stuck with me. I mean, I
It's
still
so
love.
unique.
I always love playing that one. I mean, I love playing everything, but that one, yeah, for me, that one really transports me to a different place. Um, Blue Rose is Falling is always because I have such an emotional connection to that. But
Mm,
that's something I wrote, so it's not. It's but something like that someone else wrote that I had to arrange, I guess. Um, yeah, I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody was a really tough one. Of
that's
course, well, of course,
interesting.
while my guitar gently weeps, I was really proud of that arrangement. Um, um, let's see what else. Yeah, and it was so crazy because when I first arranged that song, it was so different because I arranged it in A minor,
Oh, wow.
and it was just because I think that's the original key. Yeah, A minor.
I think you're right.
But yeah, and I mean it sounded fine, but it just I just couldn't get it to really peak, like how I wanted it to. So
Yeah.
to really climax, it was kind of hard. And with in A minor, it's weird, right? Because you have unless you have the low G, you're always
Mm.
gonna have the third in the bass, so it just doesn't give a really strong, sense of resolution, I think.
So you went with a C, right?
Yeah, so because of that thinking, I was like, well, I'm gonna play it in C minor, then I'll have the root and the bass, right?
Yeah.
So
No, especially for like the
to be
finale
the
part too. It's
yeah,
perfect.
yeah, and that finale is not really part of the song, right? But it was just I
But
needed to just build. I wanted to just build something, so that's where I just added that whole ending thing because I wanted it to just like become this epic, and
well,
that's why the last chord on there. I mean, that's the biggest chord you can make on the ukulele because it's a two octave. It spans two octaves, right?
yeah,
You have the high the yeah the low C. You have the G above that. You have the E flat in the next octave, and then you have your highest C. So, and then if you wanted to, you could even put you still have the minor third above that. So
yeah.
on a Kamaka tenor, right? So you can actually
But look at that.
uh,
The thing is, it's taken a life of its own. I mean, I think a lot of people anticipate that section
mm,
because I remember my favorite part of going to your show was you and Dean Taba and Noel Okamoto used to come to Maui a lot, and you guys used to have this jam session
oh
after the verses, and I remember it was just so fun to watch.
yeah, that
Grade.
oh man, I used to love just hearing those two guys play. Oh, I miss playing with them so much, man. Yeah, that was like it was such a rush, for me to play with them. Yeah, they just take it to a whole different place. Yeah.
Oh, for sure, man. But I was just wondering, like, you've done a ton of traveling. I guess besides Japan, where's one of the most unique experiences you've had?
And I mean, I don't know. They're all. I mean, if you name a place, I can tell you what my memorable experiences were from
Okay,
that.
about I know. Last year, we were both in the UK,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and you had your little your singing moment, right, with Petey.
Oh gosh. Oh, I'll never forget that. I still call him my vocal coach whenever I see him.
Yeah, that was it. That the thing about that place was that it was just so community based. Like we would go to the pub and we would just jam and sing all night long.
Mhm.
The enthusiasm there was pretty.
I loved it. Yeah, I loved how. just everyone's enthusiasm and passion for the ukulele. That was really cool to be around.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah. So and then just to hear all the performers and yeah, I don't know. It was just I really love that experience, and I've heard so much about it, and I'm just so I just I was so fortunate. I felt so fortunate that I finally got to experience it for myself.
Yeah, we
And
were really surprised that you were up there.
oh no, I
Like, oh, Jake's coming to Ganuff. That's gonna be so much fun. And yeah, just even like the acts are very different in the UK. Like
oh
the
yeah, they were yeah. I mean, I loved it. I mean, I heard stuff that I had never heard before. So
No, definitely, it's definitely yeah, I got a kick out of it. It was such a fun experience. And Craig and Sarah were there. I remember we
yeah,
all got to catch up. Yeah, it's funny how we have to catch up like not in our hometown.
yeah.
It's like
Craig and Sarah are like rock stars over there, man.
yeah.
Everybody knows them.
Yeah, that so just yeah, getting to just hang with you guys
Uh,
and all that was just so much fun.
was that your first time going there too?
No, I think I went the previous I headlined the previous year.
Oh, the previous year. Okay, okay.
And then I came up actually for the Austrian festival, but I had to make a stop because like yeah, we go Gunuff again. It was so much fun last year. So I just came with I think I taught a workshop, but
Yeah.
more of an attendee. So just then get to see you guys and it was yeah,
Yeah.
it's so that was such a fun experience. And yeah, definitely miss kind of being on the road, but
Yeah, I loved it. I was the new guy. I was the rookie, going
no
up there.
way.
I loved it, man. I had so much fun. The jam sessions, Peter Luongo and all those guys. It was
Yeah,
really great to catch up with everybody.
definitely, man. And real quick, for people who don't know, Jake is actually a former wrestler.
Oh,
Man, so yeah, I'm so intrigued by that. So just yeah, real quick, like how long did you do that?
I only wrestled my senior year
Oh,
in high school.
really?
Yep. And the coach, Kevin Ewan, every year he would ask me to come try out for wrestling every year. And, I was just really involved in like student council. I had band. I was involved in all these different, clubs and stuff. So I kept telling, I just don't have the time to commit, right? Because I was in concert band and marching band. And jazz band.
Wow.
So yeah, I just, and then student government, right? I was, student class president, and then I was also
Oh, wow.
the Honolulu District Student Council as the HDSC chair my senior year, and I was involved in state student council, so I was very like super active, with all that kind of stuff. But man, my senior year, I was like, he kind of convinced me to just do it. So I went out and it's one of the best things I ever did, man. It was life changing for me.
Oh, wow. So you got some grappling experience a little bit.
Yeah, I've always been I've always been fascinated with martial arts and stuff like that, but more on the philosophical and mental side
Hmm.
of it,
Right.
the spiritual side of it. Yeah, so but wrestling was great. I loved it because it's just such an individual thing, and it's what you put in, it's really what you're really just it's a wrestling match with yourself, basically.
Yeah.
It's such a mental, it's such a mental sport, and and that really, really, because of that experience, I think that's what gives me the strength to really get through whatever I need to get through, when it
Wow.
comes down to it. And yeah, that mental toughness, because I'm not a big guy. I'm not strong or
It's all
anything.
technique, yeah.
It's technique, and in my case it was just pure stubbornness, man.
You ever into any tournaments?
Yeah, well, after I graduated too, I wrestled in a lot of state games.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I,
you're gonna have to teach me how to perfect my single leg or my double leg.
oh man, I'm probably only half the speed I used to be, but yeah, but I remember like yeah, I got silver in Hawaii State Games, but it was my brother got gold.
Wow.
Yeah, my brother did really well. He was the MIL state champion. I mean, MIL champion, and then he got sick for states, so he couldn't wrestle in states. But the guy that won states that year, my brother had beaten him in the
Wow.
fine, yeah.
Fun things we didn't know. Oh man, and have you ever tried jujitsu?
I did once because my cousin was really into it. So he took me out a couple times, and yeah, it's just such a different mentality
Yeah.
from like wrestling and judo and things like that, and um but yeah, I just yeah, so but I used to love it, man. I used to love, I mean, it's just such a great sport. So yeah.
Uh, well, yeah, you definitely have a wide variety. But there's actually something I wanted to. What song was it? It was just I always had a question about it because it was so interesting. I think it was one of your earlier albums, like the
Mhm.
process behind it. Was it Equator? Maybe it could have been. 'Cause it was just so different from the other. That I think that what might have been one of my favorite albums, Walking Down Rain Hill. It was so creative, with Heartbeat and like, you had a lot of classics on there, but it was just the variety was just massive.
Oh, thanks, man.
It's
Yeah,
like,
that was a fun. Yeah, Heartbeat was a fun was a fun song because that's when I got really into experimenting with the delay
mm,
pedals, right? So doing like the dotted eighth trick, where you're playing the thing and it loops around, so it sounds like ticka 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 ticka,
yeah,
that
yeah,
stuff. Um,
yeah. That's a fascinating piece because it's like there's three sections, but they don't repeat. Like you
mm,
got the beginning, and then you got the middle, and then you got the end. It's kind of like a book, actually.
oh, thanks, man.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was like, yeah, I
I,
remember just
I've I've always wanted to re-record that song though because I just didn't like the way I played it, but
really.
yeah, I just felt like I
Well, you
could.
did the reprise, right?
I did, yeah. It was, yeah.
But you still feel unsatisfied.
Um, yeah, I just wanna really give that song another yeah, another go around, I
Oh
think.
man, I would buy that in a heartbeat. Cause like, yeah, again, like there's like, I mean, me and all my classmates. I mean, that's like that CD, and of course the other was a dragon and Gently Weeps too. But for some reason, that one really stuck out. So it's like, yeah, whenever we get together, oh, let's play Heartbeat, and it just brings back all the nostalgia. So if you re-release that thing, oh my gosh, you
Yeah, I
should you
wanna I
should
wanna
you should actually make an album with like some of the old school stuff, and then you can throw Toastman's Return on there.
Yeah. Oh, what was the wait, Equator was the one that went.
Kind of like the
What was it?
oh,
I'm trying to remember.
it
God.
has that kind of like that Stairway to Heaven one though.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That's right.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's
Shoots, I totally forgot about that song.
you looking for your ukulele.
Yeah, shoots, it's downstairs. But yeah, it starts in A minor, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like A, B, C, then it drops down to the minor major seven, right? Just kind of goes down. Da, da. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
That was yeah, such a great. And you got like 6 in the morning. It was just full of great tunes. But oh, if you yeah, that's so crazy that you weren't satisfied with Heartbeat.
I think back then I was, but I remember like maybe like 10 years ago or something, hearing it, and I'd just be like, oh man, I just some choices I would have made, would have been so different.
Would you keep the
Uh,
same structure, or would you go back to the
No, no,
head?
I think I would keep the same structure and keep but yeah, but like even like some of the lines, like I just felt like it was just so too obviously resolved on some things, like just I think there could have been room for just a little bit more. Uh, yeah, just I don't know, just a little bit more color.
Oh man, you know what you should? You should do like a harmony with that diminished run.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Uh,
man, like I'm already excited. I really want to hear the new version. That's just like, oh man, that's crazy. Wow.
um, yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
should. Yeah, I mean, I haven't played those songs in gosh,
are there
probably.
any songs that you weren't satisfied with that you would want to try again?
Oh, I mean, I'm always not satisfied with anything I record. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I always wanna redo. There's every once in a while there'll be something that I'll record where I just feel like, I can just be happy with. Like I feel like there was some magic to it that I probably wouldn't be able to recapture.
Yeah,
Like there was like there's a song called Travels that I did
oh,
that I
right,
did
right.
with Dean Taba and Nolo Kimoto. Yeah, that track, there's definitely some magic on that one.
Yeah, no, that's one of our favorite
Like a
tracks.
vibe, that I don't think I would if we tried to record it, it wouldn't be better, it would just be different.
Mm.
Um there's another track, I think what was it? Oh
Off
shit.
the Travels
I
album.
can't think. Oh no, no, just in general. Like I'm just kind of going. Like I like the way like Toastmakers Revenge. I think even though I would play some things different, I think because I was so young, then it had the right energy and attitude.
Right. I'm
Like
really curious to
yeah.
see what an updated version of just any song would be, just because it's evolved so much.
Yeah, but that one, I mean, I remember I was just going for it, man. I was just like had the face in the studio, just just like Eye of the Tiger, like I mean
Yeah, no, I mean it's a
that's
fight
what
song.
yeah, that's what that riff was inspired by was Eye of the Tiger.
If you
Yeah.
do that song again, you have to. Yeah, that's true. You definitely have to re-record the intro too.
Did I tell you how I did that intro? I recorded it into one of those handheld, like note recorders,
Oh,
and
really?
then you can just speed, and then I just sped up the voice.
Yeah.
Everything. So when I played it back, it's like,
Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember the first time I heard it, I thought something was wrong with the track. I
yeah.
was like, "What is that?" And then
Tracy was like, "Are you seriously want to keep this on the record?" I was like, "Yeah, it's cool." He's like, "It's not cool, but if you really want this on there, I'll put it on." I was like, "No, you have to put it on. It's part of the intro."
no, that's good. You just went with the something that you believed in, and you didn't let any criticism change it. I mean, that's cool. I mean, that's like
You hear that, Tracy Torada? If you're out there, see, it was a good thing I kept that little monologue in the
yeah, because
intro.
everyone talks about it. Everybody talks about it. Like all my friends talk about it, and
Oh man.
I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure what the reasoning, but now we know.
I'm gonna put more cryptic stuff on my next album then
You
for you.
should. Oh man.
Yeah. Be like, what does that mean? Like, it means nothing. I just wanted to throw you off, Andrew.
No, yeah, I would try to figure it out. Like, is that something like a conversation with the old message? Oh
uh,
man, but please let me know when if you do finish that track. I would love to hear it.
oh,
The
thanks, man.
heartbeat.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a part of my childhood, so I'll definitely geek out listening to it.
uh, all right. Well, hey, I want to thank you for having me on.
No, yeah, man. Thank you so much
Great to talk
again.
with you.
Remember, you're like the busiest guy I know, so I know time is
Oh,
precious. But thank you so much. We definitely had so much fun talking to you, man. And I can't wait to hang out again soon.
yeah, same here. All right, Andrew. Well, you
Definitely,
take care, man, and yeah, keep me posted on all your upcoming projects.
will do. Will do.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved your latest record.
Oh, thanks, thanks.
Mhm.
Always keeping at it, man. But yeah, until next time, my friend.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Take care. Aloha, everybody. Be
All
safe.
right.